Okay, this is like take 150. Hopefully my hair doesn't look so bad. I'm going to comb it. So in the meantime, I know that's bad etiquette, Philip. You shouldn't do that on video. That's terrible. But that's okay. You know, I got to look cool. I got to look cool. Maybe I shouldn't wear my insulin pump too either, but I do. But anyway, here's the thing. We make judgments about what's real and what isn't real. And this is a matter of judgments. You know, I talked about something before once. We get used to thinking of things as being real and unreal. You know, like if you're watching a movie, for example, you might see a scene in a movie, and you say, that scene is so phony, it's so unrealistic, it's unconvincing. You know, and we make a judgment that that's the case because we have an idea of what's realistic, especially if we think about things that themselves, just by the very nature of it, really isn't realistic. Like a friend of mine was sort of like talking about the movie 28 Days Later. And, you know, the fact that the zombies were running, you know, that, you know, zombies don't move like that. You know, like, you know, okay, how do zombies really move? They move more slower and stuff. Yeah, that's how they move. Now, is that based on reality? Seriously. You know, have you actually seen a real zombie and how it actually moves? No, maybe zombies get up and they dance and they sing and maybe they're very friendly and kind and they don't really eat people's brains and stuff like that. Maybe they're, you know, they may be vegetarians. They, instead of saying brains, they go grains. You know, who knows what the truth is about what zombies really do. But that's just one thing that you can look at. I talked about something some time ago, that when I was a kid, when I was about 14 years old, I actually saw a man get shot. I mean, with a gun. It looked like a 38. I think it was probably a 38. I didn't go and measure the calibers of it. But it looked like the kind of guns that the police used to carry. They don't carry them anymore. What they call a snub-nosed 38, which is a very short barrel 38. I remember it was very shiny. It was like nickel-plated. And these two guys were chasing after this one guy. And the guy who was being chased, I don't know if he purposely fell down or if he tripped and fell. It looks like they were after him. And in a way, I mean, from what I'm seeing, he seemed to be justified in doing what he did because they were coming after him. He got up. I mean, after he fell down, he got up immediately and pulled out this gun and pop. I just heard that shot. And the other guy fell. He hit the other guy in the stomach. And the man fell. The guy who got shot survived. I know this for a fact because a couple of years later, I saw the man who got shot. I was in a store and I was coming out of the store. He was coming in. I didn't say nothing to him, but I thought, that's the same guy that got shot. You know, but he did survive. But the thing is that, you know, at that moment when it happened, when the gunshot happened, when the shooting happened, it didn't seem real. It seemed so unreal. You know, it's this funny thing about when things really happen and it happens right in front of you, stuff that you see in movies and TV, you actually get the idea that the stuff in movies and TV is more real than reality. Because you see it so much. You see it all the time. You see it every day. You see it on movies and TV and everything. It's repeated over and over. Then when the real life things happen, it doesn't seem real. You get this feeling of unrealness. You know, I mean, I've seen really bad car accidents happen right in front of me. And it just, you see it, you know it's happening. But, you know, it's not a movie. It's not a stunt. These aren't stunt drivers. It's real people in an accident. And it just, you get this feeling of unrealness when you see things happen. You know, I've never seen a plane crash, but I would imagine that if I actually saw it, there would be a kind of, you know, it's that feeling that people talk about. It's like a surreal type feeling. It doesn't seem real. It's really happening right in front of you, but you can't. You tend to not believe reality when you don't see it all the time. And you tend to believe unreality when you do see it all the time. You know, it's kind of funny how our minds work. We tend to see something as real when it's repeated over and over. And that's what we get in movies, that's what we get in TVs, that's what we get in novels. We get stuff that's not real and it's told to us. Or even things that are real, but we're getting it secondhand. We're not getting it firsthand. We don't get a sense of how things really work. I was reading an article the other day about what happens to people when they die. The actual stuff that goes on, people's bodily functions and whatnot. You don't really see that in movies. So people tend to think that's not what happens. Then when you're with somebody and they die and things happen, you start thinking, oh my God. Yeah, that's kind of a bit of a shock to you because you weren't really being prepared for this by watching a movie. You weren't being prepared for this by watching TV shows. Sometimes a lot of information is in our minds, but it's not in harmony with what's real. We don't get the real sense of things. It's just something that I think about a lot. Where we get information from and how things. That's why how things are depicted in movies and TV shows. A lot of stuff about diabetes, for example, in movies can be over dramatized. And people can make things seem so bad. And when I tell people I'm diabetic, some people get all overly panicky and they start doing things. It's like, calm down, relax. This is not a movie. It's not a movie. I know how to handle things. Let's get real. It's just interesting. That's all I can say. Sometimes you need to educate yourself about what's real, what really happens about things. And there's lots of ways you can learn things. Sometimes by asking people who actually have to deal with things. The best thing is to experience things, although some things you can't. I don't want to know what it's like to fight in a real war, for example. I never want to know that for real. Although I have actually talked to people who fought in wars. I've talked to people who have been in really bad situations. So I have a better idea. And that's what I sort of aim for, is to get a better understanding, a better idea of what really goes on in the world. And that's all I wanted to say.